Mark Levin here. Our number 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Almost looks like an atomic bomb blew up in and around Los Angeles. Devastation is horrendous. I'm certain that more than 5 people have died from fires like this in different locations. The intensity of it, the speed of the move of the fires with the wind. And it also appears that everything that could go wrong went wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And by that, I don't mean nature. I mean by the incompetence, by the ideologues who run the water system, who oversee the budgets for the fire departments, and on and on. It all came to a head. And the consequences are just unbelievable. And I'm sick and tired of the media and the left telling us that we shouldn't hold people to account. Now, what do you mean by that, Mark? They keep calling it politicization, that this is being politicized. No, it's not. When Donald Trump and others, me behind this microphone, demand to know exactly who did what it was based on, we want to understand why they keep pushing these radical ideologies that put people at risk and their homes at risk and animals at risk. We need answers. We need answers. You cannot have devastation like this and not get answers and not have accountability. You have a governor. The governor's in charge. DeSantis was in charge of Florida during the hurricanes, and he gets an A++. This guy, Newsom, is a disaster, and he's not the only one. He's not the only one. These crazy, radical, phony environmental policies, these degrowth attacks on the infrastructure, on our energy, on water availability. This needs to be addressed because they want to take this act nationwide. That's what they want to do. Now, I spent a lot of today doing research, looking online at various studies and so forth, so you don't have to. And I noticed I was using Google that all these left-wing programs, DEI programs, equity programs, environmental justice programs, environmental reparations programs, every time I was trying to do research, these things just kept popping up, scores at a time. Every university is involved in this sham. Every university, virtually, in California. They have programs promoting this ideology. And it's taken people's lives. It's taken their homes. It's been absolutely horrendous. And we in this country, whether in California or anywhere, we need answers now. We spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars on climate change, so-called. On the Green New Deal, so-called. We've got regulators in Washington, D.C. doing things that impact towns, cities, communities all over this country in horrendous ways. They don't represent the people. In fact, I would argue that their activities are unconstitutional. They're not our representatives. And then we have actual representatives of the people, like in California. They keep pointing fingers elsewhere. And they have their defenders even now on television. The idea that a fire hydrant doesn't have water pressure for a situation like this in a place that has wildfires is crazy. With the kind of money that government in California pulls in and spends. I watched this guy Newsom. He's a clown. He doesn't even understand what's going on. It's the locals when it comes to water. No, it isn't. It's not a local issue. The water is not produced locally. It doesn't come from, originally, from local sites. Water pressure and fire hydrants. Shouldn't that be like the number one issue? So they're having to use garden hoses, which aren't going to put out fires. Now, what's amazing about that is apparently there's enough water pressure for garden hoses. We all know what's been going on. We've been witness to this, whether you live in California or anywhere else in the United States. The radical environmental groups and their lawsuits to prevent infrastructure from being formed and built and maintained. Washington, D.C. and Sacramento with their crazy-ass policies when it comes to fish and other things. The battle over water, the water wars, they call them in California. Well, now they have consequences. This isn't the only thing. Brownouts and blackouts, energy shortages, gasoline shortages, electricity shortages, water redistribution in the state of California, which really has more natural resources, certainly a diversity of natural resources than any other state in the country. The largest population of any other state in the country, the biggest budget of any other state in the country. It wasn't always this way, but it's this way now. It's the same ideology that has an open border and has destroyed our immigration system, destroying our communities with Venezuelan gangs, Salvadoran gangs, other criminals, fentanyl. That's man-made. That's not nature. That's man-made. Or the undermining of our police forces and law and order all across the country. They just gave Soros, Biden did, the regime, Presidential Medal of Freedom. Soros, in part, is responsible for widespread crime that's taking place in this country. Medal of Freedom. Says, I don't really care about the social consequences of my position. And that's from his days as a teenager in Germany when the Nazis were taking property, which he was involved in. He gets a Medal of Freedom. They're ultimately going to destroy the car industry. They're trying to push people into electrical vehicles that they cannot afford, where there aren't enough stations to charge up, where the car is, in my view, totally inconvenient, especially if you want to travel out of state or for some kind of distance or something like that. The grid is incapable of handling all of this electrical use. Nobody has a solution for that. Nobody's proposed a solution for that. And yet here we go, wild-eyed, in a radical ideological agenda that has real consequences. You know, we keep killing the energy industry. We're not going to have food in this country. What do you think fertilizer is made out of? What do you think tractors use when food's being harvested? What do you think trucks use in order to get the food to our grocery stores and so forth and so on? The packaging, the plastic, it's all fuel-based, all of it. All of it. Electricity can't substitute for that. We're not building nuclear plants. We're not building anything that will create the kind of energy we need. So people are going to freeze during the winter. You're going to have heat waves during the summer. And the impact is going to be devastating on life. This is what happens when you follow these ideologues, these radical, no-growth Marxist ideologues, which has been mainstreamed in the Democrat Party, in the media, and academia. Has real consequences. We're not allowed to discuss it. We're not supposed to discuss it. Well, like hell, you cannot have a disaster like this in the United States of America, in the greatest country on the face of the earth, because these kooks, these radical kooks have taken over. And ground zero is California. Now, here's a woman who runs into Gavin Newsom in California today, whose life has been devastated. I don't know what this guy Gavin Newsom does. For many years, past years, all he does is he travels to Washington, he goes around the country, he wants to be president, does media interviews. The hell, this guy's totally useless. He's the Justin Trudeau of California. That's what he is. A pretty boy who's got a low IQ, who's lazy, who doesn't do the hard work. Cut one, go.
Governor, you got a second? Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter. I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around.
How's it not taking your call?
It's not going to.
Why? So let's get it. Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I'm doing that right now. We get reimbursements, individuals. Never looking for you so far. That's for your daughter. I have 4 kids.
Oh, wait. School there. They lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one building another. Governor, please tell me, what are you going to do with the president right now?
Getting the resources to help yourself.
Why is there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
All literally.
Is it going to be different next time? What are you going to do? I would fill them up personally, you know that. I would fill up the hydrants myself. But would you do that?
I will do whatever I can.
You know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
Make the call, rest everything I can right now, including making sure people
Tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing. Can somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
right now.
Mm-hmm. Boy, she was good because she's desperate and she doesn't believe him. And the man's had years to address these issues, years. I hope you'll watch my Saturday Life, Liberty, and Levin Sunday too. I address this. I hope you'll watch The Blaze. I address this too. He's a liar. He's talked about cleaning up these forest floors to an extent he never did. 2021, and they caught him. And NPR of all media platforms reported on it. He doesn't do the things he says he's doing. He doesn't do it. And sadly, it's left to the firefighters and to explain what's going on and why they can't do certain things. You had firefighters, there was no water coming through these hydrants. No water coming through these hydrants. This is a state that has wildfires. But you have politicians, you have bureaucrats, you have phony experts, you have environmental groups that own the damn state. The people are basically imprisoned in this mire. They're imprisoned in this mire. They pay massive.
You're kidding me.
Everything's through the roof because they cater to these unions. And you expect the state to at least to do the basics, right? But they don't because they're too busy. They're too busy redistributing wealth, catering to illegal aliens, rejiggering society. They have their ideas of what people should do and what a state should look like. And if you get in the way, they just bulldoze over you. We don't have time to clean the forests. What, for the lumberjacks? We're not going to do that. The lumberjacks are the patriots. The lumber companies are the patriots. It's really sad. I'll be right back. What?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
You voted big government out and efficient government in. Well, now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. If you're still on the other big name providers, I have one question. Why? Pure Talk, my cell phone company, gives you the exact same service on the exact same towers with better customer service because they're based right here in the United States, all for half the cost. That's right. There's simply no need to spend $85 or $100 per person on your wireless bill, not when you could get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot, just $35 a month. My friends, the average family of four could save about $1,000 a year with Pure Talk while enjoying one of America's most dependable 5G networks. So cut the fat out of your wireless bill. Switch to Pure Talk by dialing pound 250 and saying keyword Mark Levin. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say the keyword Mark Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
Slow going traffic in the district on DC 295 northbound between the 11th Street Bridge and East Capitol Street. And there is a report of a crash northbound at Benning Road, and southbound is jammed up from Burroughs Avenue towards East Capitol Street. New York Avenue is still slow outbound between the 3rd Street Tunnel and Florida Avenue, and inbound is slow from 4th Street to the 3rd Street Tunnel. And also watch out for the accident on New York Avenue near North Capitol Street. Freeway is slow go between the 14th Street Bridge and the 3rd Street Tunnel, and some delays on 395 southbound between Glee Road and Duke Street. And northbound is slow from Boundary Channel to the 14th Street Bridge. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch Report.
Tonight, mostly clear, low 17. Tomorrow, increasing clouds, light snow tomorrow night, a high near 31. This report is sponsored by Regency Furniture. Affordable never looked so good.
Bundle up for savings during the avalanche of affordability at Regency Furniture. Right now, you'll get no interest financing until 2031.
Look, Alvaro, I got the same shirt on.
No interest financing until 2031 and free delivery. Regency Furniture. Affordable never so good.
Man, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, True Vitality Medical Center gets your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? True Vitality Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. Patients see instant results on their first visit.
True Vitality Medical Center's breakthrough treatments restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 703-637-1222. 703-637-1222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 703-637-1222.
Wesley is a truck driver. A truck driver with IRS troubles. It got really bad.
Yeah, they don't play around. I thought that I was going.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, this is great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
You didn't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
Any kind of trouble with the IRS, all Optima Tax Relief. Sitting deal.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-908-1755. 800-908-1755. 800-908-1755. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
In today's digital age, where cyber threats loom larger than ever, safeguarding your personal information is paramount. So why is Congress considering a law that could put your credit card data at greater risk of being hacked and exposed to foreign networks? This Durbin-Marshall credit card bill could jeopardize your financial data, make it more susceptible to cyber intrusions. It's a controversial bill that proposes a shift in billions of dollars worth of consumer transactions to payment networks that lack the robust security measures consumers rely on. Who could possibly want that? Well, the answer: woke corporate megastores seeking to inflate their multi-billion-dollar profit margins. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill will undermine our safe and convenient payment systems and endanger your data security. It's time to take a stand. Visit electronicpaymentscoalition.org. Make your voice heard. Tell your senators to oppose the radical Durbin-Marshall credit card bill, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live.
From the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
First thing each morning. O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9 on WMAL. what is the situation with the water? Obviously, in the Palisades, it ran out last night in the hydrants. I was talking to the firefighter in this block. They left because there was no water in the hydrant here.
The local folks are trying to figure that out. I mean, just when you have a system that's not dissimilar to what we've seen in other extraordinarily large-scale fires, whether it be pipe, electricity, or whether it just be the complete overwhelm of the system. I mean, those hydrants are typical for 2 or 3 fires, maybe 1 fire. You have something at this scale, but again, that's going to be determined by the local.
I mean, that's a complete duck. That's a complete duck. Okay, so you know that going in. So what have you done about it? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You haven't done anything about it. And as I said, there's NPR, but it wasn't just NPR. I use NPR because it's a left-wing government-run platform. About how he's lied about what they've done with the forests. He's just lied about it. And the New York Post has an excellent story, and there are others too, about how corruption has really seeped into the whole water issue there. And it's not just that. It's the radical environmental groups that are trying to withhold water from what? The farmers. And so they fight water. They fight efforts to get more water into the state. And this has consequences. You know, we have to hold people to account. We have to hold ideologies to account. We can't let this go on and on. The people are suffering there, but there's going to be more suffering. The reporting has been superb. The reporting is superb, but
What do you want? What do you want? Spanky, what do you want? What do you mean we need to talk? About what? Talking's over with. Time for action. The motherfucker lied to me on the phone and he goes into JC's and does that shit. And I'm banned from JC. I should have a fucking wrench at JC's. So that shit don't happen. But you know what? Fuck JC. I don't want to go to her chat no more. I'm not gonna go up on her panel. Nothing. Fuck you guys. I'm gonna do my thing. You sit here and fuck, if I want to listen to talk radio 9 hours a day, you don't have to be here. There's other channels. Not asking you for your money or anything. What do you want to talk about, Spanky? What, you want to come up? Oh, so you're not really to be serious. You think you're trolling me. Bye, because I don't want to deal with your dumb ass. Yeah, go play. Go back to JC's or have Wiggin go live again or go to JT's. Get the fuck out of my face. I'm serious, Wiggin. You fucking prick. Fucking break your neck.
All of the Roman Republic, with a history of the ancient Christian church with Hillsdale College's free online courses. Personally, I'm enjoying Constitution 101. And in this course, you'll explore the design and purpose of the Constitution, the challenges it faced during the Civil War, and how it's been undermined for more than a century by progressivism and liberalism. This 12-lecture course is self-paced, so start whenever and wherever you want. Start your free Constitution 101 course with Hillsdale College. It's free. Go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's LEVIN for Hillsdale.com. Register for free. levinforhillsdale.com.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.
News Talk 105.9.
News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. Breaking this hour, the LA County Sheriff wants to put a curfew in place as early as tonight, if possible, around the massive Palisades and Eaton fires.
We had a number of looting arrests throughout the entire county region. That is unacceptable behavior.
He hopes that curfew will be approved. Also tonight, the late President Jimmy Carter will be buried in his home in Plains, Georgia, next to his wife, Rosalind. Their grandson, Jackson, saying at a state funeral at the National Cathedral this morning that despite spending 4 years in the governor's mansion and 4 in the White House, they were just plain folks.
But the other 92 years, they spent at home in Plains, Georgia.
Traffic and weather next.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/credit.
Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
Watch out for accident activity in the district on DC 295 southbound before Burroughs Avenue, and that has traffic very slow from Eastern Avenue. Northbound side also slow between the 11th Street Bridge and East Capitol Street. On the Beltway Inner Loop between George Avenue and Colesville Road, watch out for crash activity there, and that has traffic jammed up from 355 and still slow on the Inner Loop as well between the Georgetown Pike and River Road. The accident in Oxon Hill on southbound 210 south of Livingston Road now cleared away, but you will still find the crash on New York Avenue near North Capitol Street, and outbound also slow between the 3rd Street Tunnel and Florida Avenue. Now from GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear, a low around 17. Right now, 30 in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on WMAL.
This is Vince. Mobile and online transactions are transforming banking, and I'm here to tell you FVC Bank is ahead of the curve among community banks with its modern technology. FVC Bank's next generation financial core provides superior online customer experiences, such as leveraging data to make more informed decisions and gain insights to help run a more efficient and profitable business. Discover how banking should be. Visit fvcbank.com. Personal attention, data driven, FVC Bank, member FDIC.
Are you suffering from balance issues due to numbness in your feet? Maybe you also have pain or tingling. If so, we have great news. Dr. Sarah Kasu at Virginia Laser Therapy specializes in treating pain, numbness, or burning in your hands or feet from peripheral neuropathy without drugs or surgery. Dr. Kasu's proven protocol utilizes therapies that are FDA cleared, pain-free, drug-free, and most importantly, highly effective and long-lasting. Start the new year off right pain-free. Now is the perfect time to call Dr. Kasu and take advantage of her Discovery Day special, which includes a consultation with the doctor, examination, x-rays if necessary, and a report of recommendations, all for just $95. Don't risk life-threatening falls or suffer with pain any longer. Call Virginia Laser Therapy today at 703-367-7878 or click virginialasertherapy.com. That's 703-367-7878 or click virginialasertherapy.com today.
Combat medic Alan Babin was critically injured in Iraq when he rushed to help an injured soldier. Now he will require care for the rest of his life. Paralyzed Veterans of America is here helping veterans get all the benefits they've earned. To help Paralyzed Veterans of America, visit pva.org.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for your free insight.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
This is a major wake-up call.
Making sense of the news.
WMAL, making sense of world events. Because those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Classy, conservative, high. The Mark Levin Show. Call in now at 877-381-3811.
LA is drained of water. Does the New York Post put it correctly? Several wildfires burned through LA on Wednesday, spurring mandatory evacuations, as we know. But they have left the city drained of water. These policies are a disgrace. We need to talk about these policies. We need to talk about this ideology. Ideology does not replace reality, does not replace common sense and experience. And we are basing so much what we do in our country when it comes to our well-being, our standard of living, our automobiles, heating and cooling our homes, electricity, fuel of every kind, on ideology. On ideology. And this needs to be fought, and we need to expose who and what's behind it, or there's going to be more of this. And people die from this. Here's President Trump on Capitol Hill yesterday, cut 4. Go.
During the pandemic, you often said that you didn't believe that you could fail on blue state basis. And given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him? Believe that better aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes.
Well, can we say that because that's trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to cover. You'd have tremendous water if you send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny.
Now let's stop right there. Everything he's saying is correct. They're flowing water out to the Pacific. That's what they're doing. And they're putting this, it's not a snail darter, but some fish, barely a fish, ahead of humankind. Go ahead.
In other areas, by the way, called the smelt. And for the sake of the smelt, they had no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that.
This is what people want to hear. This is a can-do leader. Said, we're not going to do this again. We're going to do what I say we're going to do, and we're going to put an end to this. And that's what's going to happen. You know, it's him. You got guys like Elon Musk and others. This is the way they operate. This is the way they think. That's why they're successful. What has Gavin Newsom ever done? Nothing. Or any of these people who are involved in making all these decisions, or at the national level, Bernie Sanders or a Joe Biden. They think their virtue signaling somehow replaces the ability to get these important things done. Well, I can't spend 3 hours on this. I suppose I could, but there are other things going on in this country. There's other things going on elsewhere. The President Trump, his lawyers have filed with the Supreme Court, something I've been encouraging now for month after month after month after month. They have filed a request, an emergency appeal, they called it, with the Supreme Court. That's perfectly fine. It's actually quite good. They made an argument I would not have made, but it's okay. They made an argument anyway that may or may not work, which is stay Mershon tomorrow. Do not allow him the sentence. We're appealing through the appellate courts of New York. We need to resolve this issue of immunity and these other issues in front of these courts before Mershon can actually sentence. Now, of course, what my argument would have been is dismiss this case. It should never have been handled based on the supremacy clause, jurisdictional issues, and other issues. I mean, as I've been saying now for a long time, but that's the way it is. And I was glad to see there was a friend of the court, an amicus brief that was filed by former Attorney General Edwin Meese and Professor Stephen Calabrese. Now, as you know, Ed Meese is a mentor of mine, and Stephen Calabrese is an old colleague and a buddy of mine. He's a brilliant professor. And among others, the America First Policy Institute, Fort Worth, Texas, was involved. And counsel of record, they have some great lawyers here like Ken Klukowski and Christopher Bartomucci and others. And this was filed as well. So you have the defense, they're filing, or I should call at this point the petitioner. You have this amicus brief. Now, what's interesting is they did say to Bragg's office that you need to file a response. What's your answer to this? Which means I hope that they're taking it seriously. Now they're either going to make a decision tonight or tomorrow morning, because Mershon has scheduled his sentencing. That is the sentencing of President Trump for tomorrow in the morning. So it either comes tonight or it comes tomorrow morning, whatever comes. I don't like the idea that they gave the Supreme Court such little time, that is, the lawyers, but they did. And here's where we are. So let's hope for the best. Now, as I went through the filings by the defense and I went through the filings by the amicus filing, they essentially cover the arguments that I've been making on TV and radio and elsewhere as publicly as I know how, as well as in writing. And that is, among other things, they say under long-standing department precedent of the Department of Justice, the Constitution does not permit the prosecution of a sitting president. They said this prohibition extends to the unusual circumstances of a prosecution of a sitting president that's being held in abeyance or on appeal. What they're saying there is The fact that this appellate process will take place during the course of the Trump presidency means that this criminal prosecution is going on during the course of the Trump presidency. And they're right about that. The department recently concluded that holding a prosecution in abeyance would still be unconstitutional. That is, waiting until after the president serves. The Department of Justice took the position that it's unacceptable. Now, of course, what I would have said here is I'm not second guessing, I'm just telling you, my audience. Under long-standing department precedent, the Constitution does not permit the prosecution of a sitting president. What I would have said is the state prosecutor and state judge can't do what a federal prosecutor and a federal judge cannot do. In fact, there's more reason to argue that they can't do it than the feds. Given the number of district attorneys and state judges there are, you can imagine what havoc would be unleashed on the federal constitutional system. And then from there, I would have argued the supremacy clause and jurisdiction and all those issues. They say even if the Constitution does not require dismissal here, prudence counsels in favor of dismissing the case in the national interest. No question about that. And so that point is in fact made in this amicus brief. They say although states have a legitimate interest in criminal prosecutions, there's also a compelling national interest in President being able to devote his full attention to his duties. That is the position of the United States Department of Justice. They say New York's interest is dwarfed by the interests of the United States as a whole, and a president who's not distracted by an ongoing prosecution. Again, that comes right from the Department of Justice. It's a very important argument. A very important argument. But to me, the biggest of all the arguments is, what are we doing here? They have no jurisdiction whatsoever. None. None. And they're interfering with a federal election. They did. A federal officer, the President of the United States, and not the only one elected nationally, he and the vice, and so forth and so on these arguments that I've made. In any event, it is in front of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will decide. And I hope the Supreme Court does two things. Number one, takes the case, issues the stay, and then number two, says, look, it's a bit of an internal contradiction to say that, you know, you have the right to go through the appellate process in New York when, in fact, the purpose of the appellate process in New York is to adjudicate federal constitutional and other federal matters. And so we hold as a matter of federal constitutional law that this case is dead. Now, that would take some cojones, but so be it. That's the right decision, in my humble opinion. Whether it was presented that way or not is beside the point. That was the right decision. So we'll see. I am here. I will be here for, another 2 hours and 15 minutes. If the court should do something, they do something in the morning. You'll want to tune in tomorrow evening, I'm sure. And we will discuss this at length like nobody else can. Now, here's what's interesting to me, Mr. Producer, and America. They went to the Supreme Court, the president's lawyers. The legal analysts on television, the former federal prosecutors, the defense counsel, the professors, whomever, they all said, don't go to the Supreme Court because the court may not take it. Stick with the state appellate process. Finish that process, then maybe go to the Supreme Court. I said, what are you talking about? You kind of destroy the whole purpose of going to the Supreme Court, which is the illegitimacy of this process, and yet you are voluntarily submitting yourself to the process. You kind of undermine your arguments. It's totally contradictory. Just go to the Supreme Court and fight to get this thing removed on the various grounds that I've argued. But they went to the Supreme Court when? Before the sentencing was handed down. So in effect, they went to the Supreme Court before there was a final decision. Despite the fact the former federal prosecutors and others have been saying all over cable TV and elsewhere, you have to wait for the appellate state process to be completed before you can try to go to the Supreme Court. It's never been the case. It's not true. As I've been trying to say over and over and over again, Not trying, have been saying, trying to convince people. And so, in fact, this filing with the Supreme Court underscores my point that you do not have to wait. The court could say, we're not going to take it, but you do not have to wait to file under circumstances like this, which are very, very unique and very crucial. They're not waiting for the sentencing decision. They're not waiting for the appellate courts in New York to make their decision. They went to the Supreme Court now, as they should. But it's a very tight window, and I hope the court doesn't feel like they're holding a gun to their head, because again, to me, this is something that should have been done months ago. Again, I'm not attacking. These lawyers have been superb. They've won everything. But this one is particularly difficult and complicated. And that's where I excel. It's just the way I am with these particularly difficult and complicated cases. I'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news. Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world?
The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know.
All without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows.
Get the day's top headlines.
And access our podcast archive.
All with the new WMAL app.
Thank you. Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected.
On the inner loop of the Beltway between Georgia Avenue and Colesville Road, the accident now moved to the right shoulder, so your lanes are now open, but traffic is jammed up from Old Georgetown Road, and also slowing the inner loop from the Georgetown Pike to the 270 spur, and the outer loop slow through Tyson's from the Leesburg Pike on and off towards Braddock Road. There is an accident to watch out for on DC 295 southbound before Burroughs Avenue. Traffic is jammed up from Eastern Avenue and some delays northbound between the 11th Street Bridge and East Capitol Street. And in Cheverly, there is an accident inbound on the John Hanson Highway just before Columbia Park Road. Now from GarageRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
Tonight, mostly clear, low around 17. Tomorrow, increasing clouds, light snow late tomorrow night, high near 31.
We receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data risk may apply. No purchase required. Terms and conditions apply. Available at realsuccess.com. Text stop to opt out at any time.
Would $213,601 change your life? Yeah.
You bet it would.
Real Success can help. According to the Motley Fool, the average gross profit from house flipping in Washington, D.C. is $213,601. Learn how you could flip homes and secure rental properties, potentially without using your own money and in your spare time with Real Success. If you're ready to take control of your financial future, we're offering a chance to attend our live workshop in Washington, D.C. for free. That's right. Text EARN to 64,000 and get 2 free tickets to our upcoming event. Washington, D.C. is an ideal market for flipping houses and building rental income. Don't miss your chance. Seats are filling up fast. Text EARN to 64,000 for your 2 free tickets. And if you text in the next 10 minutes, you'll also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Again, text EARN to 64,000 for your tickets and guide.
Well, the holidays are over and you're done entertaining. And now you're ready for that special project, like remodeling the kitchen, bathroom, basement, or any room. I know it's a challenge, but it's not as tough as you think. It all starts with one call to Cabinet Discounters. You'll meet one of our friendly designers. They'll walk you through the entire process. So let's make it happen. Schedule your consultation today. Just go to CabinetDiscounters.com.
Entering the cage of doom. Who will step up to his challenge?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Take on the tough classes now. You need them to prepare for college. Find out which classes you need at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
You voted big government out and efficient government in. Well, now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. If you're still on the other big name providers, I have one question. Why? Pure Talk, my cell phone company, gives you the exact same service on the exact same towers with better customer service because they're based right here in the United States, all for half the cost. That's right. There's simply no need to spend $85 or $100 per person on your wireless bill, not when you could get unlimited talk.
Well, fortunately for you guys, all 0 of you, I have company, so I got to go. I was going to stay up, but the card players are fucking out front getting ready to walk in my door. So I gotta leave because I'm playing cards. Card night. Fuckers just show up without calling.